gifts. You were brought into this world and you have talents.
Mi gente, ¿cómo están? Mi gente de México, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Colombia, Puerto Rico, la USA. Okay, yeah. Bueno, les quiero agradecer. I want to thank you all so much for being here with us. A special thank you to Miss Stephanie Castellanos. I don't know, I can't see her, but you guys, can we give her another round of applause, please? Wow. That was great. Entonces me voy a sentar. I hope you guys can see me. I'm pretty tall. So, first I'd like to welcome the people that are on the stage, and I'm going to introduce them. I hope you don't mind if I use my phone. So, first we have, from Cross Keys High School, Miss Naomi Portillo. From Meadow Creek High School, we have Sarah Salazar, Jasmine Sandoval, and Abril Gomez. And as we promised, we have some college students with you all as well. We have from Georgia Tech, Kim Molina. And all the way from Dalton, Georgia, basically Alabama, we have Eddie Mejia and Rebecca Mann. Now, we have here 7 bright, trailblazing Latinas, shout out to my Latinas, that here want to share their experience, not only as high school students, as incoming freshmen into college, current seniors and juniors in college, and then I'll say a few words myself, but I really want them to share their experience. It's something that we don't necessarily always talk about, so without further ado, the reason that we're all here is education. We strongly believe everyone in the back, all our volunteers, all of our mentor guides, our Emory staff, LAA staff, everyone in this room firmly believes in education, the power of education, right? And so, first and foremost, let's talk about college, okay? So we're gonna have an honest conversation about college and how an exciting time it can be, but how it can seem like an insurmountable task. Everything from GPAs, essays, scholarships, it can just seem like a lot to handle. And unfortunately, sometimes we're doing it all on our own, or at least it feels like we're doing it all on our own. So, my first question is gonna be to my high school students, and you all in the crowd, if you all could just go ahead and hear them out. What's an obstacle to my college students? What's an obstacle you're facing in regards to college?
So I'll go ahead and start. So, hi guys, my name is Jasmine. Obstacle that I'm facing right now is, ever since I was young, my mom has always told me, make sure to apply to scholarships, you know, because we can't really afford to send you to college based on what we make. So, and I'm following that advice, but as I'm applying to these scholarships, sometimes like getting the rejection letters is kind of like a little bit discouraging. So, and that just keeps increasing my fear of what if I can't pay for my college? So, my question would be, how can I go about finding more ways to, you know, get scholarships, as well as how do I deal with this fear?
Hey, Jasmine. So this is something that I also struggled with whenever I was going through the application process. I was doing a lot. I had 2 jobs and like also struggling trying to get accepted to college. So I just didn't pay any attention at all to applying to scholarships. And so my number one regret was applying to local scholarships. With local scholarships, a lot of the times they're being funded by local businesses. You're competing with a very small group of people within your community. So, and then a lot of times they just need somebody to apply. So if you apply, you're probably gonna get it because they don't have anybody else applying because they're not as well known. And yeah, they might only be like $250, $500. But if you apply to a lot of them, like that'll add up and that'll help you out for sure. Another thing that I would make sure that you do is go ahead and apply to any financial aid that the colleges that you're applying to have, because even if you haven't been accepted yet, most of the time their deadline for applications is January 1st, before you might not even apply, before you might not have been accepted. But a lot of times they're going to ask you, are you a minority? Are you a first-gen student? And then it's first come, first served basis on, yeah, you're going to go ahead and get that money. So definitely do that. And then when it comes to federal scholarships like Hispanic Scholarship Fund, I know it can definitely be a lot more competitive, and it gets hard when you get rejected. But at the end of the day, it is free money that you're going to be getting. So even if you get 1 out of 20 that you apply to, it'll have been worth it. And if you still have to take out loans, you're going to college to be able to make a better living wage. And so if you have to pay back those loans afterwards, it'll have been worth it because you were able to get that education to have that opportunity.
My name is Sarah. When applying to colleges, they always require a certain SAT or ACT score. So that puts like a lot of pressure on me to get a good score on both of them. So my question is like, what can I do to ease that fear?
So when I was in high school and middle school, I wasn't really ever the type to make good grades. I wasn't the teacher's favorite. I only got honor roll probably when I was in middle school. So I didn't have evidence in front of me showing, hey, you're good enough, you can do this, it's possible. And even in my first semester of college, I dealt with that, where I would just sit there and look at the teacher and just think like, can I really do this? Can I finish this? Can I make it to the end? Am I capable? But a lot of times when we are in high school, in middle school, elementary even, you're around the same people, you know, and we compare, we just can't help it, but that's not good for your esteem, definitely. So that would really impact it. And also, it's the small things that matter. You may not think it, like whenever there's a TV show and they're all eating dinner at the table. What matters the most is them going and buying and getting the ingredients, but they don't show you that. So definitely pay attention to the small things because it makes an impact in the long run.
Hi, my name is Abril Perez. Most seniors right now are struggling in order to be able to have everything they need to go to college. Unlike most, I'm a full-time mom, so I have to work twice as hard if I want to pursue a higher education. It is very hard for me because my parents do not believe in me, and I want to show them that I can do this, that I can be successful.
Okay, so I can't relate on being a mom, but I do have a cousin that's in the same situation as you. She is currently trying to be a certified CNA, but her family is doubting on her just because she has a child, and the family thinks that the child should be the first priority, you know, getting a job and forgetting school. But honestly, I'm really proud of her because she is currently working night shift, and she is going to her morning classes, so she doesn't even go to sleep, and she still has time for her child. And basically, the moral of the story is that if you have a dream, go for it. The people that doubt you, don't listen to them, you know? Move in silence and just prove them wrong. You can do it, sí se puede.
Hi, my name is Naomi Portillo, and I am from Cross High School. And obstacle that I'm having in regards to college is the fear of not having a good essay when I apply to colleges. Like, for example, sometimes I ask myself, is my essay going to be good enough for the colleges that I want to apply to be accepted? And I don't know, so, I think that anxiety and that fear is something very unnecessary that I shouldn't be having on me. So my question is, how can I deal with that fear?
Thank you, Naomi, for sharing. The fear of not having a good enough essay. I think we all have an amazing essay in this room. I think we just don't realize it. And I think my college students and my graduates understand what I'm talking about. We assume that we have just a normal life, that we just, like everyone's high school student experience or middle school experience is exactly the same. But there are very, very important differences between my high school experience and that of my peers. And I'll explain it in a second. So I think, let me ask you guys a question. Who here has been the translator in the family since before they were like 5? Yeah, you gotta raise your hand. Before you were 5 years old. All right? Who here has been an accountant or has talked on the phone to like government agencies or like the bill companies? Yeah, raise your hand. Mijo, ¿qué están diciendo? And you're like, Mom, I'm trying to watch SpongeBob, okay. So that's just, in the same room, we share those experiences. It makes us so different to our peers. It really does. So colleges don't necessarily just look at, and Miami people can back me up, just don't look at numbers. So yeah, they look at GPA. You mentioned ACT, SAT scores, they look at extracurriculars, but that's why they have that essay portion, because they want to know, who are you? Like, who is coming onto my campus and making a difference, and basically, who are you? So that's when you share in your story, hey, yeah, I went off to college, or I'm going off to college, or I want to go into your college, but also, I'm the babysitter too. I'm also a person who's a trailblazer in my family, and who is, like Kim mentioned, a first-generation student. Someone who's figuring it out on their own and still manages to have the GPA that they have, the SAT or SAT scores that they have, and all these extracurriculars. So if I'm an admissions person, I'm like, this kid is a superstar. This kid basically had to be their own parent, had to basically lead their parents or lead their family, and on top of that is kicking butt in school. So I mean, those are the people that get admitted. That's what you put on an essay that gets you above and beyond. So everyone in this room, not just you, Naomi, has a good essay, has a good story. Just think about the things that you do in your life and make sure that you put it down on paper and you highlight that when you're going ahead and you send it to a university. So, thank you to our high school students for sharing that, the high school fears that we have going into college. Now, I want to move over to our college students, both from Dalton and Georgia Tech, and I want them to share their first-gen experience. Now, the definition of first-gen, we keep saying first-gen, what is that? Maybe I'm second or third, no sé. First-gen is a college student. The first-gen college student is a student whose parents did not complete a 4-year college. So raise your hand if you're first-gen, or you would be first-gen. I'm definitely first-gen. Bueno. So, first-gens face numerous barriers in the pursuit to become the first in their families to graduate college. They often are the first in their families to navigate college admissions, financial aid, and post-secondary coursework. Now, according to the Center for First-Gen Student Success, first-gen students are less likely to use health, academic advising, and academic support services, simply because we don't know they exist, right? We can't have someone in our immediate circle who can give us that advice, so we have to really figure it out on our own. But enough about me. I want you all to share your experience of being a first-gen student and how has it impacted your life?
Yeah, so I can go ahead and start. And like you were mentioning, Luis, especially in my first couple of years in college, I was trying to figure out time management skills, what college life is even about, because I had no idea going into college what all the social aspects were, any of the academic resources, whether or not I should stay within my major. And then at the same time, also balancing like being away from my family. So I'm the second oldest, but I have 4 younger siblings. And when I first went into college, my youngest sibling was only 3 years old. And so when I was in high school, I had taken care of them a lot. And also I was working kind of as a secretary for my dad's business. And so while I was trying to manage everything about college, I would get calls from my parents, like, oh, hey, can you send this email to this client? Because like I'm more proficient in English, and they needed me to do that. And so those like small things would add up, and it would really make me feel like even more pressure than everything else that I had going on. And I just kept thinking like nobody else like has to like deal with this. Like I didn't feel like I was getting that support. And then most recently, I have been getting that space and support from my family as I'm about to graduate. But now I feel really, really distant from my family because I'm not there all the time. My older brother lives right next to them, right down the road from them. And so I feel like just as different and an outsider for not being at home. And now that I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna be moving to Seattle, Washington, like across the country for a new job. And it's an amazing opportunity, and my parents are very proud of me and supportive. But at the same time, when I first got the job offer, they were like, you're really gonna like leave us behind. And I have felt that guilt of not being able to move forward and being the first one to do that. But I feel like me doing that is going to show my younger siblings and the rest in my family that there are more opportunities than just staying like within that bubble, and to keep moving forward. And I hope to come back one day and be near my family, but right now that's something that I have been struggling with.
So right off the bat, you are not on the same level as your peers. Being a first-generation student, you're not given the opportunity of having intergenerational wealth. So for me, my biggest struggle has probably been juggling the different roles I have in my life. I live at home with my parents, and I don't have to pay rent, but to my parents, I have to make sure everything is done for them at the house. Like that's one role. And just because I don't pay rent doesn't mean I don't have bills. So I go to work, and then I'm a student at the same time. And sometimes it makes me feel a little bit more of an outsider because they won't understand the importance of some things, or this is actually a job, or just a lot of small things. And getting more education, it also means that you're gonna pick up some different beliefs. I don't really believe the same traditional stuff that they think, and sometimes that can create a little conflict, but those probably have been my two biggest obstacles.
All right, so being a first-generation student is hard, I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh, just because the pressure comes from my family, and my family expects me to complete college, and if I don't complete college, I'll disappoint them, and that's not what I want. I never intended to be the first-generation college student, like never to be the first one to go to college, just because I am considered the baby in the family, the golden child. And basically everybody's looking up to me. They're like, my family is watching me as I'm completing college. They're watching if I'm gonna succeed or fail. And overall, college has made me an independent person, and it has motivated me to stay in the game. So I hope to finish college soon.
Thank you, Eddie, for sharing. Definitely stay in the game, fellas. All right, so we're gonna wrap up with one more question. So college or post-secondary education honestly should be a really fun time, and it really is a fun time. Let me just get that out the way, guys. You're gonna have a blast. Any college you go to, you may have a football school, basketball school, or just you may meet so many different people. It is truly, truly an experience that I hope every single person in this room is able to have. But what you heard from our students, and just thank you for being so honest, is it can be really tough, and you will face different things, not only within yourself, but also with your family. So one last thing, and this is again to my college students, and if you could answer this to the rest of our audience here, if you weren't to see these people again, what's one piece of advice or something that you would like to leave them with?
So, one piece of advice, I would probably say let someone else tell you no. Don't tell yourself that. Don't not do something because you think you can't do it. Like, seriously, you know? A lot of times it's true, like I feel like I've heard this saying so much, but you are your biggest competitor, you know? You have so much potential in you guys and you don't really see it. No, a lot of people don't, but it's definitely there. And we're just so hard on ourselves sometimes. Give yourself some slack. If you don't get the best score, if you don't do something certain, it's okay. What matters the most is how you see it, and you don't let it affect future opportunities.
Okay, if I were never to see ya again, one piece of advice I would tell ya is that your journey throughout college gets lonely, but don't get discouraged because, doors closes and a new one opens, and just know that at the end, it's all worth it.
Yeah, so really echoing what Eddie and Rebecca have said, you're going to be getting rejections when you apply to scholarships, when you apply to schools. You're going to get those rejections, and especially us as Latinos in first gen, like, we're already feeling low about where we're at. And so when we put all of our efforts into these things to be able, like, putting ourselves out there really, and then we get rejected, we go even lower. And that can be really hard. And so I just want to say, like, even putting yourself out there, you're taking one step forward that nobody else has before you. And if you get those rejections, get back up, brush your shoulders off, and keep moving forward.
So one last thing I'd like to go ahead and leave you all with. Brush your shoulders, Jay-Z. Yeah, I see what you did there. Honestly, I always think about my parents' sacrifice. I think about, and this is just our experience. They had to cross a desert, they had to cross a river, they had to cross another desert, and multiple times they had to do that with different family members. And I think about everything that they've gone through, and nothing, any kind of like late night or studying or anything that I can imagine that's really been tough for me can ever live up to what my parents have done. That sacrifice that they have made, I have to do something with it. They gave me an opportunity, they gave me a shot, and that's personally all I ever really needed and all I'll ever really need. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank you all, and I want you to think about that sacrifice that your parents make. Make the most out of it, please. So once again, can we give these young ladies a round of applause, please?
You have gifts. You were brought into this world and you have talents.